was just kind of sharing some of the conversation, or like an icebreaker. Oh, something what happened at work, and something I counted at work with men. And I'm just trying to reach this guy. And this guy talks to me all the time about his marriage and all the time. And he so I'm trying to share him, trying to reach out to him and explain some things to him, and I run into a victim mentality. He quickly shifts to be the victim, and it's hard to deal with that. And
wow.
And then, and it's interesting because he talks to me, he talks all the time about the relationship with his son. It's got a mirror image of the relationship. It's like a mirror image that is the issues that he has with his wife. That is identical. And then you see his son playing the victim too. And it's like father and son, they're both playing victims. And so when I try to deal with it, it's so hard to deal with, and it seemed like when I start making progress, getting something through, you hit a wall and he starts playing this little, like he's the victim and he's being the one. I'm thinking he's the one that's being, taken advantage of. And I'm thinking, wow, and it's something that you said, and it started really hitting home when you said that scripture a lot, about visiting the fatherless and the widows in their affliction. And I looked up the word widow. I was doing some reading on that. And what was interesting about widow was that it was referring, let me see, widow meant, according to Hirsch, it's a I forget it's a Hebrew root word. It breaks down all the root word meanings of the Hebrew language. And there's this book, and the author's name is Hirsch. Anyways, he says that the widow means a woman who lost her voice. In Greek, a widow means like a gaping hole, meaning something, a void of something. So I was thinking about that. A widow, a woman, excuse me, the Greek and the Hebrew word widow means dumb, meaning someone who can't speak. So it's referring to a woman who has lost her voice. Okay. But when we think of widow, you look at it from a different angle. When you have a male-centric society, you create a whole lot of widows who does not have no voice. And you see this reaction from not having a voice, you see it in rebellion. This is where you see where Me Too, creation of Me Too and all these things, ultra feminist. And this is interesting because this is what the scripture says to cover these people. It's just to visit these people, the fatherless and widow. Yeah, anyways, I just thought that was very interesting as I was reading on that.
There was something you said, I'm trying to remember, that caught my mind. Before you went into widows, that was connecting with some of the things that I was dealing with here of late, but it's not coming to my mind. Um, I am, I just, Micaiah called me earlier today. I think he's on here, but he had called me earlier today and about a situation. And so I had to call Astaria and talk with her. And I think we had a pretty good talk. But some of this is, I think, connecting to what Chris was saying. When he was talking about, I guess, the guy on his job and marriage and, his son, his relationship with his son. So anyway, as I was talking to Astaria, I'll share this little bit. Prior to this conversation, Micaiah and Astaria and I were talking, and I can't remember what the conversation was about, but she said something that I felt was what I would say offensive to me. So in that conversation, I said, look, if you want to do it, however you want to do it, you want to do it your way, do it your way. And I stopped having that conversation. Now, Chris, you're familiar with that Tracy. So anyway, I had not talked to her since until today. And I was working with her in her making a decision, a clear decision as to what she really wants or what she really wants to do. Sharing with her that, either you're going to you need to commit to healing, or you don't need to be in the relationship that you're in. And one of the things she said that was interesting was she did mention that it was unfair, in other words, for her to stay in a relationship without committing. So she mentioned that. I'm not going through all of the details, but I'm going to get to some of the main point of it. I shared this with Jalen and them earlier today, but the main part of, or the latter part of what we talked about was trust. And I hope Micaiah doesn't mind me sharing it. Or Micaiah, do you mind me sharing this part? Just kind of what happened?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So basically, I don't have the full story right because I couldn't hear everything that Micaiah was saying, but I got a gist of what he was saying. And it was what happened was he, I guess, went to visit a friend or something. And as he was visiting his friend, he stayed there late or something like that. And this is the general gist. It concerned Astaria more in the area of mistrust. So she was not trusting Micaiah. And when Micaiah finally did get back home and everything, she was wanting to pretty much, what she explained it to me was, I need to heal. She needs to heal. So they need to have a separation in their relationship so that she can concentrate on herself to heal. That's a short way of saying it, a nice way of saying it. So that's to give you a little backdrop. And so in this conversation, she was saying that she wanted to stay in the relationship if she could heal, if she could heal from some of Micaiah's past discretions, or the things that he's done. If she could heal from that, then she would want to stay in the relationship. That's what's making her unsure. And so I talked about, from that point, I talked about trust. She was saying, sorry, a part of the conversation, I was telling her that her mistrust of Micaiah did not start at whatever Micaiah had done in the past. It did not start at that. And she was kind of want to lean on, well, I can't trust him because of what he's done in the past. I said, no. I said, really, your trust has been violated way before then. And what you're doing is somewhat placing some of that on Micaiah, even though Micaiah has done some things that were clear violations. Am I making sense?
Mm-hmm.
Micaiah has done some things that are very clear violations, but that's not where her mistrust is really coming from. So in short, she kind of challenged me on it, and I clarified my point. So I started establishing, again, you all have heard me talk about it, but I'll say it again. I started establishing trust. And so I asked her this question: how is it that God can trust us in a single moment? We have all had violations. We have all done certain great trespasses to each other, to ourselves, and things that would be greatly offended to Abba. And if you are in church, you go down to the altar and ask him to forgive you and supposedly say, I won't do those things no more. And then after that, you get up a new man and you're feeling like you have a relationship with God and he trusts you and you trust him. How in the world, after all of those violations, how in the world can he forgive or trust us just like that? And do we have the ability to do the same thing? Now, I would say, look at some of your transgressions, your areas where you have walked over some things real bad and done some real bad stuff. And you really think, some of us, I've worked with some of you, and some of you really have acted as if what I have done is nearly unforgivable. So that's what you feel about yourself. Well, if you feel that about yourself, then surely God should see it as being unforgivable, and it should take him a long time. You got to go through a string of stuff to prove that he can trust you again. Have you ever noticed that God's relationship never did that? Have you ever noticed that you didn't have to jump through a whole bunch of hoops before his trust in you was established? He just trusted you at the moment you said, Lord, I'm sorry. What the hell? Do you think that that's just because of God, or as human beings, do we have the capability of doing the same thing? I won't go any further right now. I'll leave that as a question. Do you think that that's only a divine quality? That only something supreme has the ability to trust overnight or in a twinkling of a second after something so bad has happened? Do you think only a supreme being has the ability to do that? Or do we have the ability to do it?
That's a hard question, man. That I don't even know where. I don't even know how to answer that. Because I've actually
Anybody
thought
want to
about
take a stab at it? Go ahead, Chris.
I've thought about this same thing in the past, something similar to that, but I just always said, "Well, he's God," you know. I, that's really hard. That's really hard because you can forgive someone, but I can literally forgive someone, but I can still have. I guess I say this with my wife, for example. If I violate her or I've done something wrong, she can forgive me, but her feelings are still ruffled. And she can't truly engage in me like we were before the violation until her feelings are back to they were before the violation. And that can take a week, 2 weeks, however long it takes for her feelings to go back to normal. So, it's really hard to answer because she did verbally forgive me and she forgave me. She no longer brings it back up, but she still has these feelings. And I've done all I can do to restore her. I've apologized. Whatever it takes to make her feel restored. I've done all that, but yet she still has these feelings of feeling hurt. And at that point, all I can do is just wait. So I don't even know how to answer that. That's a tough question.
Chris, thanks for being real with that. I mean, and using your relationship as an example, because that's realistic. That is really, really realistic. That once in the human life, most people, once a violation has been done and it's reoccurred over and over again, at some point, it takes a while. Today, it takes a while for a person to you have to do some things and you have to prove yourself. And once you do certain things, then your trust is then you start trusting that person again. That is common. I do want to clarify that trust. There are areas about trust that can, I would say, grow, but I would make a distinction between initiation, meaning the initial, what does it take to, when someone offends or crosses the line so bad, what does it take to actually have the initial go ahead of trust, and what does that look like? That's kind of rhetorical, but if someone wants to take a stab at it, they can.
I wasn't going to necessarily take a stab at the question specifically, but kind of like what Chris said, I think part of my struggle in answering your original question was just because this is something that I don't think is just a mental exercise and wrestling through, but part of what you so just but initially when you asked are humans capable, I do think that we are. I think we have to understand it in a sense, because gave that um, when you gave that description, that foundation of how God of God of God's trust, um, another expression that you um, well, it's a verse. I'm not sure if you just mentioned a lot, but anyway, a verse that came to mind was guard your heart with jealous care. And that part of how I see part of that action and how God um, restores his connection with us, or when you talk about um, opens himself up regardless of our trespasses, is part of how he guards his heart. Um, that is him guarding his heart in one sense. I don't know how else to explain it. And so it reminds me though of when you talk about how you don't let mistrust control or dominate you, but part of how you release that mistrust is when you open yourself up. Otherwise it's still there in uh it's still buried inside. And so anyway, I don't think that it's not, I'm not saying that from, oh, this is easy to me, but it's something that I've um been trying to understand, because like you said, a lot of us have done great offenses to others. We are battling with the offenses that have been committed on us or been done towards us. But a couple of things were kind of rattling my mind. That general idea, the Lord's Prayer, where it talks about, forgiving those that trespass against you, and also the whole verse about 7 times 70 and restoring. Um, so anyway, that commitment, or that relationship.
Let me say something. It's very interesting, CJ, that you mentioned that, because CJ and Jalen and I went to a Bible study yesterday, and the subject was restore. And I think all of you would have found it interesting. Chris, I think you would find it real interesting. This man that does this Bible study, he's not typical. He's not your typical. He's a pastor, but he is not your typical pastor. And usually when he comes from stuff, he has a little bit of depth. So he has some depth to what he's saying. So it makes it very interesting. But the subject was on restore. And it would have been interesting for us to work through some of the scriptures, or you all to hear how he went through the scriptures. And then from a Greek perspective, he breaks down the roots, the root of the Greek language. And then you would hear from a Hebrew perspective, after the root of the Greek language is broken down and see the difference, then you get a little different picture of static and dynamic, a clearer picture of that. So anyway, it's very interesting that word is coming up again. So I'll go on with the conversation that I have with her. I said, clearly, you've had violations that you've done that that offended others, trespasses that you have with other people, all kinds of things. And I said, but real trust and the establishing of trust is really based off of one thing. And it's really based off of an open line of communication of being able to, at any point that you feel or I feel we're in a relationship together, we are able to discuss or talk about the offense that is on the table. And if it is legitimate, there is restitution.
Mm.
No other God, all he rests on is his relationship with you and your commitment for him to be able to bring to you, reflect on you, to bring to you things that is, something that is a violation to him. Also based off of the commitment that if you feel like he has violated something with you, you have a right to go and talk to him about it. It's based off of trust. It's based off of that. All trust is suspended by that by itself. Just based off of us having an agreement that if there's any offense between you and I, God and you, that there is a place and a way to communicate about that offense and give opportunity for restitution. Trust is based off of that. God's trust in you is based off of that. And I explained now, he understands. Now, I want to back up a little bit. We're talking about a relationship with another person. We're talking about a relationship, Micaiah, Astaria, in relationship, and he has had clear violations, and she should have the ability to trust Micaiah. And so I shared that even if Micaiah left, went out, and he stayed later, as long as you see that after the original offense that he has done, that he has made grounds or he has made restitution or he is moving forward in changing and healing. This is the basis of God and his relationship with us. He understands that we are going to mess up again. He understands that it takes time for us to change. That it's not going to, the things that he told us may not change overnight. He understood that with the children of Israel. He understood after they came from Egypt that they weren't just going to change these habits. And so as soon as they make a violation, click, you did it again. I don't trust you anymore. His trust is not that weak. Our trust cannot be that weak. It's based off of the relationship that we have and our ability to talk to each other about what is a violation and give an opportunity for restitution. If that is removed, you will have an unhealthy society. You will not be able to repair marriage. You will have a high and a huge divorce rate on down the line. Does that make sense? So I shared with her that her trust, if we, and when I'm sharing this, she said, I understand exactly what you're saying. And I started saying, you have the ability, because as long as you and Micaiah can talk about the thing that is offending me. You see, if there are things that offend us with each other, that we can have an open line of communication and talk about, it will always keep impurities out of our relationship. if there's a violation and I internalize that violation, I guarantee you at some point it is going to bring some sort of separation in the relationship. As long as I am able to get it out, don't internalize it, but get it out and allow it to be addressed, allow a person to give restitution, restore if it is legitimate, then trust will stay intact. Now, going to what CJ said, I shared this point from that point. You see, the scripture says that if you have an ought against a brother, take it to him and take it to him alone, meaning giving him an opportunity to restore. Tell it to him and give him an opportunity to restore. If he doesn't, take it to before 2 or 3. If he doesn't do it then, take it to the church. If he doesn't do it then deal with him. That means separate. Deal with him as a heathen. The Bible leaves no room for mistrust in a relationship. It leaves no room for mistrust in a relationship. So then it says, so then Peter asked him, so how often shall I forgive? When he's asking that question, the way that we generally see it is that Jesus said 7 times 77. If that is the case, then it just means that anytime someone offends you, you just forgive. You forgive them. And there's such a love of God in you that he's given you that you have this great ability to just say, well, I forgive them. But I forgive them, but I don't trust them. I forgive them, but nah, I don't trust them. God leaves no room in his relationship with you. There is no room for his mistrust in you, and it is no room for your mistrust in him. There's no room. Now, what Peter was asking was, if my brother has offended me and I told him, and he restores, and the next day or so, he does it again. I tell him, man, you did it again. Now we're talking about mistrust. You did it again. I don't trust you. You did it then, and then I told you about it. You paid for it, and now you're doing it again. I don't trust you. And God said, Jesus said, 77, 7 times 77. You cannot separate the relationship based off of that. The reason why is because when someone has a desire to restore, it is also a picture of charity, of love. So as long as you and I are constantly, when he brings up, when those things that are a violation that we do that are a violation, and he brings those things up, and as long as we are being restored or restoring our relationship back with him, he does not count those things. He gives you time, he gives you space to heal, to grow. Does that make sense? That means that his trust is still established. He has not lost it. Am I making sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, the basis of most relationships or how we deal with things oftentimes is this area right here. I have seen marriages that have stayed together because for the children or whatever, they stayed together, but yet they never trusted each other. They stayed in a mistrusting relationship. That is devastating. If you are staying in a mistrusting relationship where you all don't trust each other and you have kids, it's going to produce some bad branches. In order for children to be healthy parents, there has to be trust that dwells among parents. If there is no trust, it will display itself in the life of the children. How it displays itself is areas of survival, areas of manipulation, on down the line, all kind of behaviors. When you see those things in people in coming up in children's lives, that is a sign that the root or the foundation of the house was not connected. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
That says that we cannot tolerate in our relationships mistrust. That says that there has to be a way that I have to be willing to be vulnerable. I have to be willing to be allow my offense be made known. At the same time, the person that hears that has to be willing to bring restitution. If you have restitution, it is the evidence of love. Also, the evidence of love is to be able to give that opportunity. That means show the offense.
Mhm.
God's trust is only based off of that. Did you know that really, if you have some offenses with him, he'd like to know it? He is not, I'm God, and you know what? God don't even carry himself like he perfect. Did you hear what I said? I said he does not carry himself. I'm perfect. You can't tell me nothing. You can't show me nothing. There's no offenses you can have with me. That ain't how God approaches life. That ain't how, he said, I want to hear it. I want to hear it. Hey, it reminds me of Moses. It reminds me of, if you really understand the word offense, it does not always mean hurt feelings. It does not mean that someone is hurt, that I'm offended. That means the way we hear it, I'm offended. That person is hurt. They're hurt. Why? Because they're offended. That is not always the case. An offense can be a non-hurting. I am offended about how people handle the lack of care for other people. I am offended. I ain't hurt. I'm offended about it. It's an offensive. When I don't see someone care for someone else, that's offensive. You see, it doesn't always be hurt. And there are places to where that God may do something or say something that feels like a violation to us. So for an example, I'm not saying that God is imperfect. I'm saying he does not carry himself as if I am not chargeable. You cannot tell me anything about myself. And I back up. You see, because when he told Moses he was mad, and he told Moses, he said, move out my way. I'm gonna destroy these people. I'm gonna destroy them, move. And Moses said, God, but look, if you do these to these people, then what's gonna happen is the people that are looking on are going to see this or believe this. And God said, okay, I won't destroy him. He backed up. Moses brought out an offense. He brought out something that was offensive. This is offense. This will create an offense. And God stepped back. That is not the first time that something like this has happened with God, where he said, CJ was reminding me of those the other day, where he's just actually backed up from a particular point. You remember the guy was offended at the tree in the New Testament? And he told Jesus, he said, pluck that up, pluck it up. And Jesus said, you know what, if you do that, that can be an offense. I'm using offense. He didn't use those words. He said, let's dig a hedge around it and put water on it. And let's see what happens. And if it springs forth and comes alive, we gain something. And if it doesn't, then we'll pluck it up. God said, okay. He backed up. He is a father. He can be moved. He is approachable. So that's a part of what I was thinking. The other part of what I was thinking is every father must be in a position of trust. There are going to be some violations, and some of their children are going to be disappointing. They can disappoint. They can do some things, but as long as they are developing and coming, a father cannot lose his trust in his child. If he does, it will be a breach, a huge breach, and a connection in relationship, a connection of life to that child.
I think it's interesting because when I think about the trust that God has in us, I think about David and how David made some transgressions. He sinned. And normally we'd be like, oh yeah, he's done for. He's done for. But I see through that story that God doesn't identify, your identity is not based on what evil you've done or what good you've done. It is based on the heart that you have in the relationship. That is how he identifies us. It has nothing to do with evil or good for the most part.
Yes. So each of us have experienced that level of love and that level of pardon, that level of giving a chance and an opportunity to develop. You have to be an example of that in this society in order to bring about restitution.
Well, I agree. I was thinking about something that you said, how that you're talking about trust. And how giving an opportunity, someone giving someone giving the offender an opportunity to restore them is actually an act of love, and as well as the offender going to pay restitution is actually an act of love. So I was thinking about how that to trust is something that is grown from a covering. Um, so it's possible that when you're in a relationship with Yah, let's say you come out from Egypt, Israel, they got out from Egypt and they got all this stuff within them and all these mistrust issues. In order to establish trust with Israel, Israel had to be willing to release some things, release things within them, even if they felt that God was at fault. They had to be able, that was I think, oh man, I can't get right, man, the words. But if you have this and you try to establish trust with the person, but the person is not willing to really to release all the pain, release all the things that happen to them, and they just go along with you, okay, I forgive you, you won't trust them. It's hard to trust them. You know, they're carrying some weight. So Israel had to first be willing to do that, to begin to establish trust. And so I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about also when in a relationship with a man and a woman, that a lot of times when the woman does release, the man plays victim. And that he can't fully restore. And so what happens when you have a whole society playing victim and the women really don't have no place to release, you get rebellion, you get Me Too, you get women acting crazy because you can't establish trust. It's all messed up.
Man, Chris, that's very good. Let me explain something. Both parties in a relationship generally come into the relationship with mistrust. Oftentimes, when I'm looking at this, though, I'm really, what comes to my mind is slavery and what we've experienced and all of those kind of things. But I want you to look at it from this angle. If both parties come into the relationship with mistrust, the husband must be the first one in his relationship. When I say it must be, oftentimes the husband needs to be the first one in his relationship with Yah that reestablishes trust. All right, I'm saying this for a reason. You said something in what you explained, but I want to use what you said earlier as an example. Your relationship with your wife, how she responds, how it's hard for her to, in essence, it takes her a while to trust. All right, let me tell you what's happening. This is what I was trying to tell Astario. It's what I said in the beginning. It's not always that you do not trust that person. You have a history that you have been raped, you have been taken advantage of, you have been whatever you want to call it. And it's really started undone business that starts with your home. And you will project that into your relationship with your husband. So that's one way of saying it. That's a way of saying it. So what I'm trying to show, maybe somebody can help me say it a little better than that. What I'm trying to show is that the husband, like you said, can come into the relationship playing victim. But then after he gets over being victim, playing victim and all of that, and he tries to establish a relationship with the wife, and then the wife goes through playing that same victim. There's an area where I don't trust you. I don't, you know, those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I said today is anything short of a communicative relationship, any trust that you draw back on, and you are not given an opportunity for a person to make restitution is victim.
Mm.
Anytime you have an opportunity to say, here's my violation, here's where my offense is, and give that opportunity for someone to restore, and they restore, and you still don't trust, is victim. Did you hear what I said?
Mm-hmm.
If a person has restored, if a person is trying to do better, if a person is saying, okay, I heard your message, I am changing, and you still hold way back here, I can't trust you, is victim. Is victim. Yeah, I think hear how I'm saying it. So, because trust does not, the initiation of trust does not take time. It takes communication. It takes a willingness to reveal your offense and a willingness to accept the restitution that is able to, that person is able to give, whatever it is.
Mm.
That is the grounds of we have a relationship, and our trust increases every time that violation, every time, look, that hurt, that offended me when you did such and such and such, because it robbed me of my opportunity to do that. I see, I'm sorry. Let me make that right. Let me correct that. Watch what happens to that person's trust. It's based off of that. It's based off of restitution. So if it's based off of restitution and a person restores and someone still doesn't forgive, then that's the one that God said, because I have forgiven you, and you have not, and you're not forgiving someone else, you cannot be a part of this community. So that's playing a victim. I'm trying to say that a husbands, wives, in those relationships, if a man actually restores, his job is to help his wife understand how to come out of the idea or the mindset of victim.
Mm-hmm.
When God took the children of Israel through the wilderness, how they handled their food, how they kept on saying, you brought me out here to die, that's the voice of victim. That's the voice of victim. You're going to take advantage. You just want to take advantage of us. You brought us out here so that you can manipulate us. You still mad at us. You still feel all of those things. That's just like black people saying, you know, they don't want to give me the job because I'm black.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Because our trust is not based off of our trust. There are going to be some people and some white people that are actually going to do whatever they can to restore. You cannot draw your line and say, even though they fall short in 100 different other areas, but yet they showed the spirit of restitution. You got to give them time to grow. You got to give them time to understand. You got to give them time to heal.
What the two of you just hit on was really powerful, and even just some of the points that you just brought up, Uncle Tracy, were some of the things that were kind of going through my mind. One, it's not quite related, but one thing that's been on my mind has been respect. So on one hand, for those of you who weren't in the men's meeting Uncle Tracy mentioned with his neighbor's pastor, part of it came up during that talk. So he talked about respect, and there was the verse that he talked about. I forgot what it is. Uncle Tracy, you might be able to bring it up or recite it, but it talks about like younger generations or younger respecting elders, and it gets into the same idea of the breakdown of trust or the mistrust that has cycled from one generation to the next. And one thing that's interesting is with the point of respect, it can almost be a tricky word. I think that you can say, I would say that respect is a matter of love and not a matter of like. It's a matter of love. But so often we get in relationships where we don't like the people who we're supposed to respect, but we say we respect them. But it's a loveless relationship without any connection. So when tying in that idea, it kind of brings up the other point that you were talking about, Uncle Tracy, as far as what a man's responsibility is in his relationship with his wife, in his relationship with his family, in his relationship with his society. When you talked about being the first to initiate something, it's part of it ties into when you talk about giver and receiver and who initiates the giving of something, the restoration of something. There's a verse in the New Testament that says something about husbands love your wives as Christ loved the church, that he gave himself, or something like that. And part of that picture that I get on one hand is this same thing that I'm trying to say, that respect, or quote unquote, if you want to say submission, your fear, your eye, where your eye goes, that's what respect is about. Where your eye is about love, but receiving love. So just as when you say fear God and keep his commandments, it has that same framework in my mind. And as you talked about, Uncle Tracy, how God, even in the example of God and the children of Israel after they left Egypt, I feel like shows that same framework, and particularly how the point of how he gave of himself, how he died. And that is him doing that, them fearing God, them keeping his commandments, them is a result of him giving, or him dying, sort of idea of what he established and what he initiated.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just kind of, that whole framework has kind of been rattling in my head. So I was partially just bringing that up because I heard what you were saying about the responsibility that we have as men, and you mentioned specifically in our relationships with our wives, or a man's relationship with his wife.
Thank you, CJ. Bullseye. Let me read what CJ is talking about. This is the last passage that the pastor spoke about yesterday. And when he got to the part that CJ was talking about, it made me listen to it and tell me how you hear it. 1 Peter 5, the elders which are among you, I exhort, who am also an elder. In other words, he is an elder. And a witness of the sufferings of Christ, and also a partner of the glory that shall be revealed. Feed the flock of God, which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind, neither as being lords over God's heritage, but being ensamples to the flock. And when the chief shepherd shall appear, ye shall receive a crown of glory that fadeth not away. Likewise, ye younger, submit yourselves unto the elder. Yea, all of you be subject one to another, and be clothed with humility, for God resisteth the proud and giveth grace to the humble. Humble yourself, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time, casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. Anyway, the way that he was talking about when he got to the 5th verse, likewise, ye younger, submit yourselves unto the elder. And when he went through that, he was really talking about the younger generation not having respect for the elder generation. That they don't have respect and things like that. And so when I heard that, I kind of cringed a little bit, because I have a certain perspective of that. So I would ask you, that's what CJ was really talking about, was that particular verse. When he used the word respect. What did you hear from what I read? How is that being stated? You all submit yourselves to your elders. Little Chris, I'm your elder. You got to submit to me. Jalen, you got to submit to me because I'm your elder. In fact, the only one I probably got to submit to is Randall. Chris, you got to submit. Michael, submit. I'm your elder. How do you hear that? Do you hear that? Do you believe that it's talking about because I'm your elder, you have to submit?
With the way how you said it, it sounds more of like you are demanding, more of a demanding tone, that because I'm this, without any requisite anything, just because I'm older than you, you are to listen to me, regardless, or you are to listen to me regardless of whatever. But just because I'm older, it gives me the right to kind of, it seems, lord over you, or to demand that you listen to me, and that you must bend the knee.
Well, Chris, let me challenge that. Yes, I am older. But not only am I older, I have experience. I have experienced certain things in life that you have not experienced. You should listen to me because you don't have this experience and I have it. That's my challenge to what you said.
And I don't
What you
disagree with
think?
that. I don't disagree with that. You got experience.
That-
I mean, I'll take
Well,
your advice.
but then wait a minute. Wait a minute. They hit brakes. You don't like it. You don't like that. And your generation and the majority of generation is from your generation on down, or Micaiah's, or these generations are pushing away from even that. And let me tell you something. Technology to your generation is wiser than any old fool. Did you hear me? Technology, the fact that you can go online, you can look in the, you can go online and whatever you need access to, you don't have to get in front of no old fool.
I'd say
So y'all circumvent these old fools.
it don't carry the same type of knowledge. Just because you can search up the answer to something doesn't mean you've lived through it or something like that. There's a difference
Okay.
in between having knowledge and experience. Having experience
Mac, you look like,
means
okay. Sorry, Chris, I didn't know you were still going.
just having
Yeah.
experience is worth a lot more than just having knowledge that you can just, oh, I don't know how to really say it, but it's a there's a difference with that versus from how
Well,
you would search up
mhm.
I gotta need an answer for something.
Well, where our society is with that, Chris, is we now believe that there are several different experiences and you cannot base every experience off the same experience. We believe that that's your experience, mine can be different. That is how our society is pushing away from anything like this. It's totally pushing away from anything like that. So it's very blurry. Younger people feel like that's your experience. You experienced it that way. Y'all didn't do it right. We're going to experience something different. Why do I need to base mine off of your experience? That's where it's going. Mac, looked like you were going to say something. Go ahead.
Well, time is very interesting in that as humans, we never see the completion of things. And I would say the oldest generation is closer to seeing the completion of what their work was started by. So I would argue for both sides. I will listen and I can hear, but I will not be subservient to because I have to complete what is forming. Because the generation it's inheritance. It's you've given me something, so I need to hear what you have given me. But I also have to understand how to move forward with that.
But Kyle, what is wrong with you? Listen, listen. As far as completion, ain't nobody, you do the way that you use that word complete, very interesting. That reminds me of the Bible study yesterday, but the way that you use the word complete, I want to interchange it with the word perfection. I want to use the word perfection. Ain't nobody perfect. Ain't nobody ever arrived to the top or the pinnacle. I'm talking about complete. We all working on our own selves and got things to work on and ourselves. None of us is perfect, complete.
The scripture says that the old man will dream dreams and the young man will see visions. And that's kind of what that is, what I was kind of speaking to, because human life cycle is so short. I had a conversation with a coworker yesterday talking about, we haven't seen So Nazis, we got a lot of our medical advancement from the Nazis because they were doing experiments on people. And that was considered a largely negative thing. But what dictates in history what is negative and positive is the completion of something, or what at what point in the present we are perceiving the past. And that's how we decide on the future. But it is ever evolving, it is ever perfecting.
Okay. Then stop looking for completion.
I never do. I also talked about the sense that humans as a group, we tend to search for happiness. And we think happiness is linked with perfection or completeness. And in the search for happiness, we start to develop the ideologies of I'm owed this, I deserve this, this isn't fair. When nobody
You know what? One of the things that when you say that, Micaiah, you brought to my mind of a religious view that I used to be a part of, and that is that we have the truth. I'm saying that as a part of saying complete, if that makes sense. Can you translate that? We have the truth. What we have is the truth. We read the Bible, we understand it. We have arrived. We have the truth. And then you would talk to them after a while and they say, well, we don't have all the complete, well, there are other people that have truth, but we have more of a completion of it than everybody else. And so what has happened is a lot of people have gotten, okay, they have the truth. So they live basically off of the truth of what those people said. And then they find out a little later on, they didn't have, something was wrong with some of the stuff that they were saying. Then it develops a whole world of mistrust. Now, nobody ever can say we are complete or we have the truth. Because I've been in a part of a group that has said that. And man, let me tell you something. I believed it and lived it. And I found out,
I think that the search for happiness is what causes us to be incomplete or not in a perfecting place. And that's where I was kind of going with that. That if your desire is to be, not to heal, if your desire is not to be intimate, then you will never be in a perfect place, in a complete place.
all right. Thanks for clarifying. You're getting there, Micaiah. CJ, you want to say something?
Yeah.
Remember the verses that I read. Remember the verses that I read. Micaiah, you're getting to it. Go ahead.
One thing I was going to say is, and it kind of ties into what Micaiah was saying. It might be a little bit more of a neutral perspective, not in comparison to Micaiah, but in just simply what I believe. I believe that respect, or the lack thereof, is something that is common throughout generation, from generation to generation. My dad, for example, even if he wanted to, could not respect his father. I believe that the point of respect that even is understood or learned by a child is established by how a father respects God, or the limits of his respect or his eye. So in one sense, when you say, you've talked about this, Uncle Tracy, when you talk about fear, on one hand, it makes me think, if we're talking about individuals' respect of persons in the point almost of idolatry, and then the same when our eye is not centered and we don't have a relationship with God, I believe that the Father is what establishes that. And this is something that you've talked about. I might be misinterpreting it, but the Father is really who establishes that within his house. And so on one hand, it's interesting because part of when you talked about even parents coming in with mistrust into a relationship, I remember conversations that I had with my parents, which were, for example, kind of along the lines of what you talked about. You didn't get this job because you're Black, or never trust this person for this reason, or how you learn based on the experiences of, I have experiences My dad has had experience, my mom has had experiences, but there is a disease of the eye or a disease of judgment. And so they, in one sense, were training me a certain way. And I was training myself based on my judgment of my experiences or whatever you want to call it. But I think that our attention is not centered on God, that our relationship with God, not just our generation, but as a society, as a world at large, that's been severed. And we're trying to reestablish that. Something that was interesting that you said about the verse, which has always frustrated me, is I believe that there is a submission that is implied on both parts. So even in the verse talking about husbands love your wives as Christ loved the church, that he gave himself, that he died. Another verse talks about, for example, God or Christ being obedient unto the death of the cross, that kind of idea. You see that reflected in God as a father. There is a, if you want to say it, submission in how he gives or how he provides, how he dies. And that from the previous generation to the current generation has been broken. That from a husband to his wife has not been represented. That from a father to his child has not been represented. And so as much as I've been able to, and you've been establishing the foundation of those things, I've been trying to understand and as best I can help to reconnect or reestablish, reorientate. Is that even a word?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. My position, but understanding Father and understanding where to direct my eye, my heart. So anyway, that's just kind of what was on my mind, because I think that what we face is not anything that is, it's nothing new.
Very good. I think you and Micaiah kind of gave a pretty good, complete picture. You said something that really made me think, and then you kept on using the word respect, and you shared about your mom, your dad, but you also shared about how your father did not respect his father. And in one sense, your father, I wish he was here to be able to defend himself, because he probably would say, oh no, I really respected my dad.
Yes. Yep.
He probably would say that.
I understand. Yep.
So we then would have to say, if that's the case, what is the context of respect?
Yes.
In one sense, it can be used Greek-wise. It uses, you would say, the word fear, things like that. And I fear my father. I have a great respect for my father. But what has to happen is the foundation of that you all were talking about. I'm going to go back to this verse and then put it together. It says, the elders which are among you, I exhort, who am also an elder and a witness of the sufferings of Christ, and also a partaker of the glory that shall be revealed.
Excuse me.
So in essence, he does not start with the young people or the younger listening and respecting the elders. He exhorts, and his first exhortation is to the elders. So what you all are saying, connecting it all, is this is talking about a family, or is talking about a group of people who are a safe place, and it has a particular order in which everything passes down. If that order is missed, then the child could not ever have that kind of respect or submission.
Yes.
It couldn't happen. So it's talking about having an intimate relationship, a nucleus. Now, Micaiah, that is what is considered as complete. Not us being perfect, but us being in a nucleus, not willing to separate, staying together until we become solid, one, whole, whatever. That's what is considered to be complete. All right, so then when he uses the word submit or respect, that is a result of what the elders do. It is not, so the way, this is what I was sharing with CJ. Now going to the second point to see if you all understand it. The way that this word respect is used, little Chris brought it up and said, it sounds like you're demanding me to respect or demanding. This is not a demand, it's a command. It's a command to respect. If you understand command, command is more or less from an encouragement. So it's like me saying to you, arise, Chris, arise, get up, respect. Is saying that. And the reason why it's stating that is because for them to actually be able to restore. So he's telling them, he's really telling, he's talking to a group of people and saying, we have to do this, all of these things so that we can bring restoration to our society or to the world. So when the subject is that, when he's talking about that, he is saying, when he says, listen, you guys obey your elders, he's saying it, or respect your elders and submit to your elders. It's an encouragement because we are getting ready to do this. We're pushing this. Everything has to be in order. If we keep this like this, we can accomplish this. That's how it's stated. Instead of me just saying, y'all need to submit to us. Did that make sense? It's a command. A command is not, a command is an encouragement. It's an encouragement to do. If I say, Micaiah, get up, I'm encouraging you. Now it can sound like I'm talking down to you. Get up, Micaiah, get up, get up. Man, he could say it different than that. He could have said, Micaiah, would you please get up? A command says, get up, Micaiah, get up. You can do it. Get up, get up, get up. Stand up. That's a command. But I'm encouraging you. That's how that is written.
It's really interesting because the nucleus doesn't happen without Jesus saying, I and the Father are one. And that's really probably the strongest primary point of creating that nucleus is understanding that without the Father, I don't have anything. And what the Father doesn't have me, he doesn't have anything.
So go ahead. Go ahead.
I was thinking about, I don't know, well, I was thinking about respect and how it was being used. Well, me and Chris Jr. had this problem one time. I think I shared this in the group. We got in a long debate about something. It was about the actually Ukraine and Russia and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was a real long one. It lasted about 4 hours. Wow.
Spent over 2 days.
Yeah, going on 2 days. And when we could sense, in the spirit of the, I'm gonna say it this way, in the, I guess the context, the conversation, it was like he felt like I wasn't respecting him. I felt like he wasn't respecting me. I know more. And he felt like, well, I'm coming off, well, I'm older and I know more, where he can't say anything. He doesn't know. So over the course of, 2 days, I begin to see something here. And that was that I am thinking old school. And what I mean by that, I think as a parent, you start thinking more defensive. That's the nature of your thinking. When you're in your youth, you think more offensive. You don't think about defense that much. So we're coming from two complete different angles. And to create a spirit of respect, I had to recognize he has something that I don't have. So I had to cut off my ego as feeling that I know more than him. And when I did that, he removed his ego. He cut off his ego, whereas he knows I'm old school. I don't know what I'm talking about. And we created, by both of us sacrificing egos, we created a spirit of respect. You see this lot in the Torah when it shows when you think of, when it talks about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The Father has an ego, the Son has an ego, but it's the sacrifice of the Father and Son of these two egos that creates a spirit of the two. And so that's kind of how I see it when that word respect, and when you say submit yourself one to another, it's something created from a sacrifice that creates a spirit.
Good. Very good stuff, Chris. What it really made me or remind me of, it made me think about is that when oftentimes the way I dealt with that is I want people to respect, if I would say, I want you to respect me. And in one sense, when I'm saying that, I am saying, if I'm saying that to Chris Jr., I'm saying, understand me. And what is happening is Chris Jr. saying, no, you should understand me. And you're saying, no, understand me. Understand me. A lot of times when we're communicating, when we use the word respect, you're really saying, understand me. Understand me. You need to understand me real clear, because I have this experience. I understand this. I know these things. Understand me. And so I would always say there was an argument between understanding each other. I've had that in my relationship with my wife. She'd be saying, understand me. And I said, no, you need to understand me. What I learned in the beginning was that because of the depravity, whatever, or the state of, I don't know what word to use, deficiency that we have in our society, the first thing that a father does is his job is to understand the child. That's the first position. He goes through, I'm saying this is how I looked at it, Chris. I think not taking away from what you're saying. He goes through understanding the child. What God does with us is he's not so eager for you to understand him, so to speak, in the beginning. What he does is he goes through understanding you. As he understands you, once he completes that understanding of you, he begins to basically apply whatever he thinks or whatever he's doing based off of what he has observed and learned and understood about you. That's the first position of a father. Then once he does that, it switches and it becomes the child has to understand you. But first, the father has to, that's what we're talking about is validation, the word validation, confirmation, affirmation, confirmation. A father first sets out to understand the child. As he understands the child, then he begins to move things in the direction of what he understands about that child. Now the child needs to understand, all right, him. Now, that is, I took out the word respect, but it becomes mutual where there is a mutual understanding or respect of each other. And that's all incorporated. I'm dealing with it from a Hebrew perspective when I say that's all incorporated in the word fear. It's all incorporated. If you say, again, if you say, obey me, again, the word obey means to understand me. That's the real meaning. It means understand me, understand. It means find out a way to understand. Then respect then places here. If you take the word honor, if a child really honors his dad, then he respects him. If a child does not honor his dad, he does not. I'm doing Hebrew now. Because honor means to do as my father is doing. Honor means to do. If I don't understand you, Chris, there's no way I can do as you're doing. I can only do that if I'm in an intimate relationship and then Dad, I understand. And then I start walking like you. I start talking like you. Does that make sense? That means I honor you. I am a representative of Chris. I am a representative of Yah. I understand Yah. I took time he understood me and I took time to understand him. And now that I understand Yah, I am a representative of it. Whether it is suffering like him or whether it is believing faith, whatever it is, I am a representative of. That is called honor. That is the highest level if you use the word obedience that a person can have. Meaning, obedience means understanding, and honor means to do as the whatever you understood. I now am a representative of that. That is the highest level that a man can live or receive from his child. That makes sense? Now, that's the word fear. So if you say, I fear God, it means that I am under his heading and I do as he does. That's that as a hub, a big hub of it, it would look like that. If you say, I fear my dad. Now, if my dad was an alcoholic or if my dad manipulated women, if my dad and I saw my dad took advantage of people and I took advantage of people like my dad, then it means that I am in the fear of my father. That's the word fear. Wow. Does that make sense? That's the word fear. So if you look at the gods, the different gods in the Old Testament, it is they are behaving according to what those things have demanded. They're behaving according to, if you say Ashtaroth, the fear of Ashtaroth, that means that I act in the stead of Ashtaroth. I do my behaviors just like Ashtaroth or Chemosh. of Balaam. My behaviors are like this. I do just like Balaam. If you say God, I behave just like God. That means that I am in the fear of God. So if you break that down, you can say that bad behaviors, fathers have bad behaviors. If those bad behaviors cross over to their children, then they're in the fear of their father. If their father has good behaviors and the father is in the fear of God, meaning he sacrifices his life, he's doing just like God, then his children will be in the fear of God. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
That's the word fear. That's the strongest meaning of the word fear. It takes out our Greek. If you say respect, I can say respect is when someone is walking as I am walking. Someone is doing as I am doing. And I can use respect. That's the highest level of respect that a person can give.
Agreed.
Does that make sense?
So when you talk about Astaroth and stuff, you're saying do as they say, not as they do. In terms of following God or Abba instead of Astaroth. So do as they say, not as they do.
CJ, you might have to help me with that question.
I-
Could go ahead.
I would say try not to limit it to that expression because the point is to do as the Father does. So the little g gods, that in one sense, idols, that's not anything that you should be in fear of. So just understand to behave and to do as Yahweh or as God does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I might have gone too far back, but I was coming from the point
Your
of
sound went off.
I said I might have gone a little bit too far back, but I was trying to come from the point of the because you were asking again, your question was how did we hear even exhorting the elders and things like that. And with my father, and we were talking about respect, and you said fear will take that away. So the reason I was saying do as they say, not as they do, is because it was the point of what CJ was saying. It is I'm not sure how to say it. Yeah, it was not trying to limit it. So
I think what I I think what Jalen is doing in his mind is, in essence, saying, "Oh, my parents said do right, and they said verbally, in essence, do right, but they had bad behaviors, so they were saying, don't do like me, but do right." That's do as I say, but not as
Yeah,
I do. That's
I think I
that's a way of
understand that.
saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he might be saying that. And I'm saying, yes, Jalen, that's what happens. We can teach the whole, the way the Bible has been taught us is almost from that perspective. It's almost been taught from that perspective because they didn't understand. Let me tell you what makes it that way. If you place the word obey as meaning do, that's what does it. It does not mean obey me, obey me. If you make the word obey me as you do what I say, if you do it that way, that's what flips it. Do as I say, not as I do. If you say honor, that means you have to understand, then you will do as I do. Does that make sense? Micaiah, did that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. I wanted to make sure I was clear. If it don't make sense to you, then it didn't make sense. All right. I know everybody's probably pretty tired. Been interesting conversation. Where do you all want to go from here? One of the things that I thought about, but every time we get on, I mean, I enjoy it. I always have good conversation and everything. But I know that we need to be able to actually exercise and put what we're doing and talking about to use. So it made me think, do we want to continue on having it every week? We feel like that's still necessary. Do we feel that we can cut it down to every other week? If you don't have an answer to that right now, you don't have to answer. Do we feel like we want to just do once a month? How do we really feel? And it's not, what I don't want is for it to lose its value. So that's kind of what, that would not change doing podcasts, different things like that. But those are things that I've thought about. I'm not saying it because I'm tired or anything else. I've enjoyed today and our conversation. And most of the time we get on it, usually something is said that is I enjoy or it's good.
I enjoy this too. I really do. I get a lot of that. It gives me this opportunity to connect
Okay.
with people who are going through the same thing. So yeah, I really like it. I do feel that I kind of thought of the same thing about this, what you're talking about right now. I kind of thought of maybe I would like, really honestly, I would like for us to start exercising more. Kind of like how you put it. Um, I don't, and me personally, I don't really feel that I'm okay with it. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay with continue having this every week. But I do feel that maybe it's time for us to cut it back some, maybe once every other week or something like that. And get out there and hit the streets and do what we said into practice. And what I'm saying is, what I'm trying to say is that I've learned a lot from the time I started this group. There's a lot that I've learned, and I have a lot of principles that were established, standard. What's another one? Judgment. What true judgment
Honor.
is. What is a covering? These things not only apply to my life, but I have been going out and talking to other people about these same things. And I ran into opposition. I've shared some of that stuff with you, with the group, and it's been kind of interesting. But so this is what I mean by exercise. And I think that by all of us doing this in our own respective circles, I guess, it'll create more conversations and stuff like that.
Appreciate that, Chris. That's good. I also appreciate you. I knew I was going to be late because I needed to finish up on some things, and you picked up and did a good job with what you brought. I really like that and appreciate that. Any other thoughts?
I'm kind of feeling the same way. That maybe, I mean, I kind of a mixed bag for me. Maybe bi-weekly might work. Every maybe 2 weeks or whenever. Because yeah, I'm starting to feel that kind of like, yes, not expectation, but get that feeling of like we're meeting a bit too often, or not feeling bringing 100% of that, yes, energy in like every single week. But so far as me, it's been fine. Been doing it every single week, because sometimes it's nice to hear or at least decompress, how my week's been going, have other people's input on other topics or things that I've experienced during my week, or how other people have weeks been going. It's a nice way
Yeah,
to decompress from being out in the world.
I appreciate that, Chris. That you remind me, that's one of the main purposes of it, is for to decompress as we are facing the challenges that we face throughout the week. That is supposed to be a weekly practice. A weekly and daily practice is to decompress. So I think it's been very good. And we need more of everybody, really going through areas of decompressing.
As far as I'm concerned, I would say that one just immediate reason for why I would be considering going bi-weekly is just because things kind of in more of my personal life have been, it's almost seeming like adding up. And I'm trying to understand how to manage or best meet, I guess, those new challenges. And so sometimes I'm, and even today, have been a lot more preoccupied or kind of in my head. And I know that we've used, I mean, especially um, a couple of you guys have used more explicitly to release and how your week went. But I also think that we haven't just the point or the designation of the men's group hasn't just been for that. And so with that being said, I I don't know, is especially in my particular situation, if this would be the outlet or the full outlet for it. And so maybe just the 2-week or bi-weekly schedule could kind of help balance kind of where I am right now, and also what we're trying to accomplish and how we're trying to interact with the men's group.
Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts on that?
Not really. I mean, yeah, like CJ said, there's a lot of things adding up. So, and then like Chris was saying, even putting it out or acting upon it. Yeah. So I'm fine with bi-weekly, and not because like you were saying, I'm tired or bored or anything, because all of the meetings are very fruitful. So
Okay. Micaiah, you still thinking?
I have sort of a bias because that's what I was doing that kept me out so late at night.
Okay, what's your bias?
That's what I was doing last night, and I got in trouble for it. So I was putting things into practice, and
Okay, I'm not getting what you're really saying, but
I'm saying that I was out there challenging and being challenged, and that's what got me in trouble this morning. So I'm a little iffy.
Okay. All right. Well, I take in account of what everybody is saying, and then we'll see what we what we may do or what we can do. Always when we first started it, I mentioned it. I asked everybody if they wanted to do it weekly or if they thought we should do it bi-weekly, once a month, whatever. And at the time they said start it weekly and we'll see, how it goes. And we may cut back on it if we need to or whatever. So the other options that we have is to cut it back until maybe some of the things that Jalen, CJ, even me, settle. And then, if there's a need, we can always change it back. I'm not saying we're going to change it yet, but I'm going to take in consideration what everybody is saying and go from there. I have not heard anything from Randall or Michael. Y'all got to do better than that. Where you be, Michael?
So I'm as far as what you had asked, I'm okay with either or. I'm really enjoying the community aspect and wrestling with different challenges and decompressing. I don't get any source of community outside of this group. I'd say I'm trying to figure out work, and so that I'm still going through the same things. I'm also in no place to challenge anyone if I'm not receiving or if I'm not standing up to the challenges that I'm being given. So that's where I'm at. But I'm okay with whatever we decide.
All right. Michael, just real quick. I would say as a challenge for you, I want you to bring something next week. So I want you to be able to initiate some kind of topic or discussion just as a challenge to you.
All right.
What's up, Rand?
I'm in agreement with the direction everybody's going with.
There ain't no clear direction yet. So
Well,
you're in agreement with no clear direction yet?
Yeah, well, I'm in agreement, whatever the agreement ends up being. If
Okay.
you're in a place of disagreement, I'll agree to, not be there yet.
Oh, okay. Before we close, I wanted to thank everybody for their contribution. Everybody has contributed to the house, and we're moving along pretty good. We've gotten it downstairs. We gotten downstairs sheetrock, just about finishing up on the taping and bedding. So next week we'll be painting and stuff like that. Upstairs, we have the sheetrock. We have everything that we need, and we're going to start on it next to finish it out, and possibly get the toilets things like that, so that we can have an operating bathroom. So all of the contributions has kept us afloat and kept us going. I have worked on the house. I have worked on the house every day. And sometimes I'd have to go to work to try to make more money, because it'll cause you to spend out money real fast. So I go out and go to work, and then I come home and I work until 9 or 10 o'clock on the house. And then that's every day. So we're getting there. And pretty soon we'll be able to relax and not have to work so hard once we get in there. So I want everybody to know we appreciate what you've done. I will send pictures or show some pictures, things like that, so you all can see.
Sounds good.
All right.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
All right. Well,
sounds
let's
good.
close, and we'll see you all next week.
All right, y'all. Have a
Okay.
good
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.